Good day, Africa. You're welcome to your favorite morning show, Hello Africa Morning Show. And of course, it is a new year, and we are coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. My name is Jemima Deladem Doche. And now to our top stories. Kenya has banned the use of cash bouquet ahead of Valentine's Day. The Central Bank of Kenya has warned that turning banknotes into decorative gift arrangements is illegal and punishable by law. Authorities say the growing trend popular on social media and at celebrations damages currency and creates unnecessary replacement costs.
The practice, popularized by influencers and increasingly seen at birthdays, weddings, and romantic celebrations, involves folding, pinning, or gluing banknotes into flower-style arrangements. But with Valentine's Day approaching, the central bank has warned that such displays are illegal, describing them as acts that deface the national currency and undermine the integrity of banknotes. According to the bank, damaged notes cannot be processed through ATMs or cash counting machines, forcing both the public and financial institutions to absorb unnecessary replacement costs. Offenders could face penalties under Kenya's financial laws. While the bank says it does not oppose gifting money, it is urging the public to use alternative presentation methods that do not physically damage the notes. The directive has sparked mixed reactions online, with some people welcoming the move as a relief from what they call an expensive and wasteful trend. Kenya now joins other African countries tightening controls on currency misuse. Nigeria has increased enforcement against spraying money at events, while Ghana has also warned against decorative displays made from folded banknotes. So this Valentine's Day, it seems real flowers, not cash, may once again take center stage.
Moving on, an unknown number of aid workers are missing after airstrike hit a hospital run by Doctors Without Borders in South Sudan's Jonglei State, near the Ethiopian border. The medical charity, also known as MSF, says the facility was tracked overnight during fighting between government forces and opposition groups. Another MSF health center in the area was looted the same day, leaving thousands without access to care.
The charity says that it had received warnings of a possible strike and evacuated patients hours before the attack. It adds that the government forces are the only group in the country believed to have the capacity to carry out aerial bombardments, though authorities have not yet commented. In a separate incident the same day, another MSF health facility in the town of Peri was looted by unknown assailants, leaving the center unusable for the local community. MSF says it had been the only healthcare provider for roughly 250,000 people in the affected areas. The attacks come amid renewed fighting in Jonglei State between forces loyal to President Salva Kiir and those aligned with First Vice President Riek Machar, who has been suspended and accused of plotting to overthrow the president. There are growing fears that the violence could spiral back into full-scale civil war. The United Nations estimates that about 280,000 people have been displaced in Jonglei since December due to fighting and aerial bombardments in one of the country's most food insecure and medically vulnerable regions. MSF says repeated attacks on its facilities in South Sudan have forced the closure of hospitals and the suspension of medical services. warning that the latest strikes leave already fragile communities without life-saving health care.
Now moving to Mozambique, preventive cholera vaccination has resumed after nearly 4 years of suspension caused by a global vaccine shortage. The World Health Organization (WHO), working with Gavi and UNICEF, says improved global vaccine supplies now allow a renewed focus on prevention. Mozambique is among high-risk countries receiving doses as recent floods have increased the threat of cholera outbreak.
Preventive cholera vaccination campaigns have restarted in Mozambique as global supplies of oral cholera vaccines recover after years of shortage. The World Health Organization says vaccine stocks rebounded significantly last year, allowing health agencies to move beyond emergency-only responses and return to preventive efforts. The shortage, first declared in 2022, had forced countries to reserve limited doses strictly for outbreak response, leaving many vulnerable communities without protection. Health agencies say an initial allocation of 20 million doses is now being distributed from the global stockpile, with Mozambique receiving about 3.6 million doses. Other high-risk countries, including Congo and Bangladesh, are also set to benefit. Mozambique has been prioritized following recent floods that affected hundreds of thousands of people, conditions that heighten the risk of waterborne disease outbreaks such as cholera. Global health officials say the improved vaccine supply puts the international community in a stronger position to focus on prevention, especially in regions facing poverty, conflict, climate shocks, and limited access to clean water. Last year, more than 600,000 cholera cases and nearly 7,600 deaths were reported worldwide, with health experts warning that vulnerable communities remain at risk despite a recent slowdown in reported cases.
Ghana's Vice President, Her Excellency Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, is urging African countries to move away from economic dependency and work more closely together to build shared prosperity. Speaking at the 2026 African Prosperity Dialogues in Accra, she stressed that the continent's future depends on deeper integration, stronger trade ties, and inclusive growth that empowers small businesses, women, and young people.
Addressing participants at the 2026 Africa Prosperity Dialogues in Accra, she said Africa must shift from fragmentation to integration and build prosperity from within. She highlighted the vital role of small and medium-sized enterprises as well as women and young people, describing them as key drivers of innovation, employment, and long-term economic growth. The Vice President also pointed to the African Continental Free Trade Area as a major opportunity to boost intra-African trade and open new markets across the continent. She urged leaders to remove barriers to cross-border commerce and turn national borders into pathways for collaboration. Professor Opoku-Agyeman further called for stronger financial institutions and long-term policies to support regional development projects and help African economies compete more effectively in the global marketplace. The Africa Prosperity Dialogues brought together policymakers, business leaders, and development partners to explore strategies for deeper integration and inclusive growth across the continent.
Ghana and Zambia have signed a landmark agreement to allow visa-free travel between the two countries. The deal was announced during President John Dramani Mahama's official visit to Zambia and is aimed at strengthening bilateral ties, boosting trade, and promoting regional integration through easier movement of people.
Officials say the visa-free policy is expected to remove travel barriers, promote tourism, and encourage stronger business partnerships by making cross-border movement smoother and more accessible. The visa waiver forms part of a broader package of agreements covering sectors such as health, defense, agriculture, standards, and economic cooperation. Speaking at the signing ceremony, President Mahama described the arrangement as an important step toward advancing African unity and promoting the free movement of people across the continent. He noted that easing travel restrictions could help unlock economic opportunities and deepen cultural ties between the two nations. The travel agreement is also expected to complement plans to strengthen transport connections and expand diplomatic and commercial relations between Ghana and Zambia. Analysts say the move aligns with wider continental efforts to promote regional integration and enhance cooperation among African countries in pursuit of shared prosperity.
That is all for our top African stories. But then, up next, we have the news review. So, Ajman, how are you doing?
Doing great. You?
I'm doing amazingly well. We are back again.
Sure. Great weekend, great year. Started on fresh, you're looking amazing as well.
And you look good
Carry
too.
the vibe with us.
I'm sure you guys have interesting stories for us, and I really can't wait for our audience to catch up with you.
Absolutely.
All right. So, my name is Jemima Madela Doche, and up next is News Review. Stay tuned.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Ever wondered what drives ordinary people to do extraordinary things? Every week, a new story unfolds. But these aren't just stories. They are the journeys of courage, resilience, and vision. On Impact Stories, we open the door to remarkable personalities and everyday heroes. Experience the passion behind their purpose. Witness the setbacks, the breakthroughs, and the moment that defines a legacy. Journey with us on AAU TV every Saturday at 4 p.m. as we celebrate those who are making an impact. Tune in to Impact Stories, where real people share real journeys and real impact, each one leaving behind a legacy written in gold. Only on AAU TV.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks. Welcome back from that break, and this is the Hello Africa morning show coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. And here with me is my brother, Dr. Ajimaro Chudako.
Hi, Phil.
How are you, sir?
Doing great by God's grace, and you?
I'm very well.
It's a wonderful morning. It's colorful and vibrant, like your fabric. It's just like the vibe is echoing.
Good morning, just like your sharp suits.
Yes. It's Hello Africa, bringing the continent to your morning.
Exactly.
So, how are your mornings going? The continent came right to your doorstep. To Hello Africa.
And it's the new, let me say, the first edition of the year, 2026. So it's only right for us to say a happy new year to all of our viewers across the continent. I know you missed us, we missed you too. And so we are here finally. Yeah. And so we believe that 2026 is going to be a great year.
Yes.
Good year, talking about Africa and then inspiring ourselves to go on and on and on and on and on and on.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's get straight into the discussion this morning. And I like our first story.
Okay.
Because it was making a lot of buzz.
It's interesting,
over
very interesting.
The
story.
weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ghana's parliament made a striking cultural statement by showing up to citizens in traditional fugu smokes, turning the chamber into a colorful display of national pride.
Yeah.
Now, this symbolic gesture followed a viral social media debate sparked in Zambia over Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama's choice to wear the fugu during a state visit to Lusaka, where some social media users initially described it dismissively as a blouse. What began as an online banter has now evolved into a broader conversation about African heritage, identity, and cross-border cultural respect, even yielding diplomatic humor and new opportunities for Ghana's textile artisans. What was your reaction when that banter was going on social media?
You know, sometimes, first of all, Ghana and Zambia share great diplomatic ties. We've had a great time. Then Zaire, now Zambia.
Yeah.
So we have great ties. We played football together. We've done many things together.
Yeah.
And you see, it's just quite unfortunate that we find most of our cultural elements and monumental artifacts in terms of fabric or apparels as very strange. Because we should know we are Africa. And as Africans, our cultural differences should not be oblivious to us because we are one continent.
Yeah.
So if I see a Kenyan, well, I was in Kenya last year, and I saw people wrapped in cloth, some reddish, kind of like burgundy kind of type of cloth, Burberry stripes in there, very original. And I saw them holding sticks and jumping. And I said, yes, I remember this because I've been seeing it, that there is a tribe, the local tribe in Kenya, they wrap themselves in clothes. So I will not go and say that they are naked.
Yeah.
The same way if I go to Namibia, I know there are some Namibians who are also clothed, having those rings across their mouth and their ears, and that is their culture.
Yeah.
So it is unfortunate that we find our neighbors, or I'll say our sisters or brothers on the other side in East Africa, finding our apparels or the apparel of the president of the land as a blouse.
Yeah.
It means that they are not well informed
Absolutely.
about what is happening across the continent. And it's a wake-up call for Africans that get to know your continent.
Yeah.
AAU TV is working on knowing your continent. I think it's a more reason to enhance that effort.
Yeah.
Because maybe we don't know our continent that much. Because our fugu as blouse, that's a big blow behind the belt. Below the belt.
I mean, I also saw a bit of ignorance in there because, like the president rightly reiterated, he's worn this outfit several times.
Yeah.
Recently, when he was at the UN, and he was wearing one when he made his address. I mean, when you come back to our independence, on the day of the announcement of our independence, for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, along with his colleagues, were all wearing the smock. I mean, it just tells you how far this dates back. So it was a bit sad for me to note that our colleagues from Zambia didn't recognize this from the beginning. You know, and then they were trying to make fun of it. Then suddenly we were able to turn things around to make it
I think
an African conversation.
They should be forgiven.
Right now. To be fair, they have been forgiven.
Funny enough,
and we don't hold it at heart. Honestly.
Yes, funny enough, if you look at their apparel portfolio, you realize that they also have a culture where men wear skirts.
Yes.
And it's a cultural shock to us as well, because we don't follow that kind of Scottish inspired way of dressing. But they are also one of their indigenous ways of dressing.
But just to hold you on that, what's funny is that if anybody from Africa went to Scotland and saw these guys in Scotland wearing in that skirt they call a kilt, they would have said it was okay and felt okay, it was fine. But why is it strange for other Africans to see another African wearing that and then we want to make fun of it? That for me, that's the poorest mindset that we have as Africans. That bothers me the most.
It's information. And I think that it's a wake-up call to all Africans that listen, get to know your continent better. I think that knowledge helps defy any, or let's say diminish any I would say misconceptions that we may or have in our minds. It will help us understand our continent better.
And one of the things I loved about this banter that became an African conversation is how we took it in Ghana. I saw a lot of social media users not fighting back aggressively, but rather choosing to educate and then also represent. So suddenly there's what we call the Fugu Friday now. Over here in AU, myself and one of our colleagues,
we'll have to start the trend from
we represented also standing by our president, wearing the Fugu on Friday. And I think it's a thing that has come to stay. Because still on social media, people are wearing the Fugu. Even some of our colleagues in the EU are wearing the Fugu. And then they are doing
everybody joined the whole trend, showing that, hey, listen, this is not anything strange. We've been doing this since the 80s.
And in Ghana, one of the things I loved is the fact that it was in Parliament. And this is one time I've seen Parliament unite, where you didn't see the minority and the majority trying to do that kind of a thing politically. But everybody came together to rally behind the president to represent the country beautifully. And all the pictures that we saw on social media, I mean, it just showed how unified we are, one as a country, and now beyond the country as Africa. Because see how far Zambia is from Ghana, but the conversation hasn't generated anything bad. And I'm happy that President Hichilema himself has said that he's going to order about 2,000 smokes from Ghana. And they are making a lot of these things tax-free.
You know, another aspect of this conversation is how effective the African free trade area is. Because if AfTA was really, really at operation, the smoke would be in East Africa by now.
By now, I agree.
But because AfTA is just on paper, and we are always holding things back, we haven't seen the effect. Free movement of persons and also goods and services should have been open. Visas on arrivals or no visas should have been the course of the day. I mean, after this visit, what came out was that Ghanaians can now go to Zambia without any visa restrictions. Which shouldn't have been the case. Not for now. But right as at April or May 2018, with the advent of AfTA, we should have seen things changing. So Africa, we are lagging behind when it comes to regional integration. And this is one sign of how we ourselves are creating challenges and chaos for ourselves with this smoke issue. For someone to be in Zambia to say they have no idea what this is, means that we are not integrating well enough, and we have to do better than that.
It is a major issue for me because I was sad to hear some news. In January, the AFCON was still going on, and that was when it ended. I was surprised to know that countries next door to each other couldn't do direct flights, like Algeria and Morocco.
It is.
They couldn't do direct flights.
When you begin to learn of such impediments, you actually be shocked to death that in some African regions, even in West Africa, it takes you more hours to move from one country to another in one economic region.
Absolutely.
Other than another region.
Which doesn't make sense to me.
It is pathetic.
It is sad.
We have a long way
and it's another reason flights are so expensive in Africa, because if you're traveling within Europe, it's so cheap. But if you're traveling from one African country to the other, that ticket you're buying could take you to either Europe or America. It's sad. I don't know why we keep doing this kind of things to ourselves.
It's a different conversation for another day.
I agree.
If you want to delve into the economic issues within this region.
So the way we have become friendly over this Fugu discussion, and something beautiful has come out of it. Zambians want to wear the Fugu now. We're also interested in what they are wearing and all of that. And then we are trying to, we have come to that point where Ghanaians can go to Zambia without a visa. Zambians can come to Ghana. We need to make these conversations happen often. among the member states in Africa. It's a thing that we must have to do as often as possible to, because this at the end of the day is going to be for our own benefit.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't see why we want to hold ourselves so far back on things when we are in the 21st century and the world has become a global village. Africa has to wake up about this.
Absolutely. And let me just chip in this. You know, the other way that we embrace these, I would say, banters is how, as Ghanaians, our uniqueness show. Now we're beginning to, I would say, carve that identity for ourselves as Ghanaians, that we are highly democratic.
Absolutely.
Africa is beginning to wake up to see how unique Ghana is. Like in Ghana, it doesn't matter which part or which side of the political belt you stand. When something happens which affects the glory and the name and goodwill of this country, it doesn't matter your colors.
I agree.
What matters is that the country must stand in glory.
I agree.
That's why everybody began to join the movement and say, Operation Fugu, justice for Fugu. Because Fugu, Fugu has been attacked. So Fugu has been given that Lord. And everybody wore it to show that, yes, we are Ghanaians first before any other identity. And how we also engage in making it or turning the woes into economic benefits. So today, every Fugu seller, I tell you, make sure your goods are visible. Because we are coming for you. We are coming to order. I'm actually going to get I'll get some doubles.
As a matter of fact, I received a gift of a Fugu a few days ago.
I have to go.
I have not won it yet. But
we have to rock it.
We'll rock
next
it
week.
Next week.
This Fugu
that's the date.
Yes, this Fugu issue, it won't end today.
Okay.
We'll do it.
That's the deal. So viewers, you've heard. We've made you a promise. Next week
it's Fugu Day.
It's a Fugu Monday. We have agreed on Fugu Friday.
Absolutely.
But AUTV is a Fugu Monday next
week. So the way we embrace it, we don't negate it, rather we use it for the good. To also transform our economy and give Fugu that patronage it deserves. That's all.
On that note, whatever you wear in your country, send us a text. Or if you have a photo of whichever you wear in your country across Africa, let's have a look at it. Maybe this is the time to start doing this by ourselves and not wait for our political leaders to take the shine. All right, so let's do that. So we'll move on straight to our next story. And we are still talking about President Mahama, who has announced that Ghana is set to complete its arrangements with the IMF by April 2026, citing sharp improvements in inflation, currency strength, fiscal discipline, and investor confidence. The president spoke in Lusaka at the Ghana-Zambia Business Dialogue, stressing that the recovery gives Ghana the confidence to expand trade and investments, especially with the AFTA framework. Mahama underlined that economic reforms under his Resetting Ghana agenda have established the economy and built momentum for growth. And this is one story I'm particularly excited about because it is okay. It's okay to have help from the IMF at every given time as a country or as a state, because that is why the IMF does exist, because they are there to help us to sort things out financially when we run into trouble. But to know that Ghana is almost at the verge of exiting the program is an exciting thing for me. Number one, because I do know that there are some restrictions, or let me say rather regulations that come along with working with the IMF. And to know that we are working our way towards freeing ourselves from the IMF means that Ghana regains a certain level of sovereignty, that it can be able to do certain things by ourselves when it comes to our economics. I don't know what you think about that, Doc.
Yeah, Phil, I always want to come with some level of objectivity.
Great.
Because we have to appreciate, beyond just mere words, we have to also authenticate and appreciate what the trends are and how do we validate these things we say, because words are just words. But what happens on the ground also matters.
That's true.
And we all have to be concerned about that. Let me start from the onset. Ghana's long history with the IMF isn't today. I would say Ghana has a 17-time engagement with the IMF.
That's true.
And if you understand what the IMF stands for, their main purpose is to provide financial and monetary support to economies for a number of reasons, which are three. First of all, to strengthen macroeconomic stability.
Yeah.
To strengthen internal expenditure and also a country's wealth eventually. And over time, since 1966, after the overthrow of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the then government, Kotoka, now opened the window for IMF to come in and stabilize the economy and make sure that institutions are becoming more profitable. And right from that moment, it's opened the doors for incessant military coups.
Yeah.
And when you have military coups as the talk of the day, you have no sound mind to talk economy. It's about closing your loopholes.
Yeah.
So economy was left alone, and then I would say revenues were used to do other things that didn't really or got to strengthen our economic framework. So 66, 7, 68, 69, all the way down to 2009. In 2002, when President John Kufuor became president, the IMF now opened the window for us to now call in for the HIPC and then cancel all debts, thinking that was the end of Ghana's visit to the IMF.
Yeah.
But guess what? It wasn't. We still had other challenges that took us back from 2012, 2015, where Ghana had to, where we saw very adverse conditions like entrenchment on public sector employment.
Yeah.
So these were what we experienced. And the shock of it all is the 17th time when President Nana Akufo-Addo also, with that same zeal and hope that we will never go to IMF, like the IMF was the necessary evil you knew.
Yeah.
We went back to them again because we had severe macroeconomic challenges. Post-COVID, we couldn't keep things running.
Yeah.
So we had to run to IMF for a $3 billion support injection just to keep things afloat. Today, President Mahama comes in and is able to stabilize a number of key things.
Yeah.
One is exchange rate. Two is inflation.
Yeah.
And for these two, are within the remit and influence of the government and the Bank of Ghana.
Yeah.
Because the central banks can be able to manipulate systems to keep these things afloat.
True.
But one thing that you cannot keep afloat are other systems that are only, they grow on their own based on how you strengthen your real sectors. Unemployment,
Yeah.
GDP, investor confidence. These things vary across space.
Yeah.
Or consumer confidence. So these things, the sector must inform.
Yeah.
But for inflation and interest rates, Bank of Ghana can fix that. So interestingly, we see a very bold declaration, which I say, I would only, from my point of view, say, let us keep working and not say things that maybe we may take back one day. Because at the moment, if you look at your macroeconomic space, Ghana, we are only doing very well in inflation. That's 3.8 today.
Yeah.
And also interest rates, which has now caused people to have money to spend. Because when interest rates are high, people will want to invest. Because governments use that means to take their money.
Exactly.
So if interest rates will go down, you wouldn't have no motivation to invest. Therefore, you want to spend.
Yeah.
And inflation also will now go down. So price of goods and services will fall. So you can now spend. It's a way to reverse mechanism to get the money back. But Phil, unemployment,
That's a big deal.
it's plummeting.
It's a big deal.
And it is balance of payment. Your exports, the value creation of Ghana for exports is not looking good at all. We are doing well in gold.
Yeah.
But gold isn't the ultimate
the only thing
value we
actually,
create.
yeah.
Our GDP isn't doing well. We have cocoa prices lacking. We have a challenge within the cocoa industry, which we also have to solve.
That's a major challenge at
Yes.
the moment.
So it is so quick for the president to declare that we are going to finish a program with them.
What if he knows something we do not know?
Well, I mean, it's not about what you know or we don't know. We all know what's happening. No, we all know what's happening. We all know that unemployment is plummeting. We haven't been able to secure any difference in unemployment issues. We also know we also got very serious balance of payment deficit with our exports.
Yeah.
And so these and many add up to inflation interest rates to actually secure that macroeconomic stability we are looking at here. So if 2 out of a number of them are looking good, which is within your remit of influence, why don't we see to the good of the others? Then we can make this proclamation, because Ghana's macroeconomic stability is not due yet. It's not yet due based on the current phase of the issues. So we shouldn't be quick to make such statements, because now the Ghanaian today is beyond statement, but rather looks at results. And that is beyond colors. We are all looking at results. So, and the IMF is not an institution that we should all be looking at, we should be inimical to. That is the impression we've created. The USA has more entrance with the IMF more than we have.
Yeah.
Because a country's credit strength secures them more funding from the IMF than others. Ghana has been there 17 times. Our problem is that when we get this funding, the purpose for which it is being dispersed, it doesn't see to the light of the day.
Okay.
Strengthening your internal economies, ensuring that your industries are working better and value addition to your GDP is high, so that you can also export. You are not exporting.
Okay.
You are not employing.
So let me take it a little bit out of the technical context that we are doing right now.
Yeah.
Where we all agree that people want to see results.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, when you take unemployment, for example, it's true that inflation has gone down, things have become less expensive, so people can easily spend. But to the person who is unemployed and has no money yet, how is this person going to be able to spend? That's a big question.
Yeah.
So that leads us to the point where I'm driving us to. How are we supposed to get ourselves, or the majority of the people who are unemployed, out of this place, given the technicalities that we are talking? Because at the end of the day, it's the results we want to see. Okay, so how are we supposed to get ourselves out of this place? The president and his team have made several promises. They've talked about the 24-hour economy. They've talked about many things. Now there's the YEA and all of those things, which is looking, we're seeing progress of work. But in my opinion, I feel like we should see more progress.
A lot more.
Than we are seeing.
Absolutely.
Because if I put myself in the shoes of an unemployed, I've been unemployed before. So I know what it means to be unemployed. Okay. So for any person who is unemployed, whether young or old, I want to understand how they can get themselves out of it. Would it have to be for them to turn around and try to become entrepreneurs now? Even if they have to be entrepreneurs, what parameters or apparatus exist that can support them to be able to do the kinds of things that they want to do? Okay, these are the structures I want to see when it comes to getting ourselves out of unemployment, which is a major thing. Because if that's, for me, among the things that you mentioned, that's the key thing for me. If we are unable to get ourselves out of that space as a country, all these things we are talking about, we are making noise about, in a few months, it will turn upside down. Because the pressure from that side will turn things in another way around. Things we don't want to see is what we're going to begin to see. So I feel like as much as we are excited about inflation being low, the city being on track and whatever, we can do much more. So Mr. President, Finance Minister, the Economic Management Team, whoever you are, we appreciate how far we have come as a country. Absolutely. I believe I speak for all Ghanaians when I speak like this, but we want to see beyond what we are seeing at the moment. Kudos. First 1 year is fantastic. The 3 more years you have, let's see more.
Yeah, I know one other thing that also matters within our economic literacy space is that we make it look as if it has been touted that the country was long lost in the well and had not been pulled up. What a very fast recovery. How strange it is. It is not so. So it tells you that it tells you that when efforts are being made to a point, it's like somebody giving you a hand stretch for you to get a quick pull. We should also iterate that it was a more of a transitional increase in efforts that just came over. but not tout that, well, we had to dig deep and pull it out, and we did it in 1 year. When now things turn around, the explanation becomes difficult. Let's be very collegiate in our efforts within our economic space and speak as it is.
That's a very objective point, and I agree with you on that. Yeah. All right, so we can move on to our next story, and still in Ghana. Ghana's Kotoka International Airport is set to be renamed Accra International Airport. Government officials have confirmed this, and the decision reverses more than half a century of naming and restores the original designation. While the move has national symbolic weight, questions are now emerging about the financial costs of the change, a cost that hasn't yet been publicly disclosed by authorities. Local branding experts estimate the exercise could run into the millions of dollars, reflecting a range of expenses linked with rebranding major transport infrastructure. This issue was also another big debate last week. All over the weekend. Even this morning on my way to work, we're still on the radio.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
But I don't know what happens with Ghanaians or politics in Ghana. We love to just rename and rebrand things. I don't know what it is with Ghana. I don't know.
It is unfortunate.
I struggle to understand. So I feel like, is it that we don't know why we name things in the first place, such that somebody comes and then they think that, okay, in this tenure, we want to change it. Okay, if it was named for a certain reason, what was the reason? Okay, first of all, and if somebody wants to rename it, what is the reason? Okay, I feel names have a lot of connotation. First of all, I agree with that. So I can understand that they may have impacts and all of those things. But what if, because one of the conversations that is going on at the moment is that Kotoka, General Kotoka did a coup or led a coup, whatever. And so for somebody of that stature who did more or less, I can't find the right word, a disservice to the country, why will we name a huge edifice or a monument like the airport after him? Okay, no problem, if that is the argument. So what, if that is what it is, why did we then name the airport after him then? According to history, he died close to that space or whatever. So if, yes, he died there, is that how we want to remember him? Like, these are the funny things that always fill my thoughts, and I don't get it. Now, look at what we have come to now. Look, I don't have a problem with the renaming, but we have just read in the brief, it's going to cost us some money.
So,
money we don't have yet.
We just spoke about the president declaring, not even in Ghana, in Zambia, that Ghana was strongly and proudly walking out of the IMS program. Yeah. It is things like this that will take us back. It is things like this that will take us back.
Because I can guarantee the spending is not.
The question is, what is the economic significance of this change?
Exactly. What does it do for a Ghanaian?
Which passenger, or which passenger says that I have learned of the history of the airport, and for that reason I will not step a foot at Kotoka, I'll go and step at the Independence Square? Which I don't know. Which hero or heroine in any country's history can you dispute that because of this person? You have no idea. In fact, if we are to sit down and open the annals of history, you will realize that nobody, even Dr. Kwame Nkrumah himself, does not even deserve any renaming at all. If we are to go into history right now. If we are to go into history right now, because Ghana's constitution, 1992 constitution, had to evolve from a constitution that wanted Ghana to be in a one-party state. A state of governance whereby one man wanted all power for himself. And created laws, libel laws, and laws that will even create chaos. And this is public knowledge. But this person has been renamed after many monuments in this country. Nobody has counted it. Why is this government so interested in changing this man's name, Kotoka? It's been there for many years. Why now? It's insignificant, and it has no economic impact on our country.
That is the key thing.
And the most important thing is that the same Minister for Transport, Madam Dorcas Toffee, and his deputy, a month ago, were all up and down looking for solutions to solve our internal transport mobility issues. Because after 6 p.m. in this country, you see people piled up at vantage points,
even before
looking for
transport,
and they can't get cars. From 2,
Yeah. The moment it's 2 p.m. and you're still in town, you start struggling.
The most important thing is for them to find ways to solve that issue. What is the meaning of this?
So, talking about the economic situation.
It's a shame.
Okay, where this change has no economic bearing on
what's
the
the
country.
bearing?
If indeed, according to the experts, it's going to cost us some millions of dollars to, do this rebranding, I would rather channel that millions of dollars into finding us a proper mobility system.
The nurses and even nurses on those teachers are crying.
Than to change the
wailing.
name. If a change of name won't bring us, it's not going to cost us money. That is fine. But if it is going to cost us money, running into millions of dollars, then I don't think this is the right thing to do at the time.
First of all, and sincerely, with all due respect, it's irrelevant. Because was this a campaign promise?
Absolutely not. I don't remember.
So what really
is necessitating this?
What really triggered this? What is the urgency? What calls for the urgency? The Obake over change. is that the urgency?
I doubt that.
Is that what we spend our state funds on?
The argument is that Accra International Airport was the original name before it was changed to Kotoka. So over the years, what has changed? Because I want to understand, when it was Accra International Airport, what changed? When it was Kotoka, what was the difference? Like that's the thing I'm looking for.
Then when you go to Kumasi, then we don't name any monument after any hero.
Well, maybe that's what we should do.
Yes,
because the truth is that we have other personalities who are not even of Ghanaian descent, but for whatever reason or relationship Ghana has with them, we have monuments or spaces named after them.
So, if the justification is that in terms of trajectory and life, or let's say the lives and works of this person called Kotoka, it's not worth it, then it means that for the past 60 years of this country, we've been blind.
Exactly.
Why today?
Yeah.
And if you go into history, Kotoka did what he had to do. In fact, at that moment, that coup was the only thing to bring Ghana into that democratic rule. After constant coup d'etats perpetrated by J.J. Rawlings. So everybody had their own issues. But you cannot judge them within those dark ages because that was the talk of the day. Coup d'etats were the ways to keep things on track. So I cannot judge J.J. Rawlings for his constant coups. He is the only person in Ghana who had more coups than anybody. But nobody calls him a bad hero. He lived very well even post those coup days and was upheld and was lauded everywhere he went as a hero. So why is Kotoka being treated like this? I think that it's irrelevant, it's insensitive, and it's a way for us to waste our resources. I'll put it the right way. We are just throwing away money for something that will not create any difference. Would that change? Would that turn our employment figures up? Would the change of name now add more people to the company?
I am just struggling to get that, because if I can relate to that, then this conversation, I think, will be more reasonable. Because, like we are just saying, there's not... I don't know how any Ghanaian is going to benefit from this.
I
don't know.
One thing that I would say, one thing that really helps your exit from the IMF, sure proof, is that you have been able to control your expenditure. This activity, my friend, I tell you, is nowhere close to good management or good control of your expenditure. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah. This idea, I don't know, but for it to have gone to Parliament last week and it was being debated and all of that, because the majority, I did watch except of that when the majority leader was up in Parliament and was having a conversation in Parliament and talking about all of these things with a lot of passion. I wish I could relate and connect with the passion.
No, funny enough,
of the majority leader.
It will actually interest you to know how did it happen. So a particular CSO held a press conference. You've never heard anywhere in Parliament, or you've never even had a clue that anybody is mooting an idea of a change of name from Kotoka to something else. The only change that we had experienced this year was the Obake issue.
Yes.
That began last year. That we change it to Obake since it's Garland.
Yeah.
But that didn't even see the light of day. It's still Akwaba. Even though Obake makes a lot, But fast forward, you never saw anybody move to this idea. Once in a blue, you see this CSO saying that yes, we should. It is very ashamed and disgraceful to have the name of Kotoka still on our monumental element, because Kotoka's lifestyle and life didn't really make any difference, was not patriotic, and therefore he should be erased. Who dare says that? Who dare says that?
So as a result,
on what grounds?
As a result of your comments regarding the Constitution and Nkrumah, there's a post on Facebook by Osajifo Oliver Bakavomawo, and he reads, it's a brief one, so I'll read it. It says, the first draft claimed by Poadomotri is that Nkrumah's name was written in the 1960 Constitution. So that should prove that Nkrumah was a lifetime president. How very daft. If you know anything about the context of the 1960 Constitution, you would know that the referendum to adopt the 1960 Constitution was held together with the 1960 first ever presidential elections. Nkrumah got 89.07% of the votes. J.B. Dankwa got 10.93%. Now, the draft constitution made provision for a clause to indicate the name of the first president who will be elected under it when the draft was being finalized after the referendum. Meaning that if J.B. Dankwa, a candidate as popular as Hassan Ayariga is today, had won that election, his name would have been written in the cloth for first president. This is how Article 10 reads. First President Kwame Nkrumah is hereby appointed first president of Ghana, having been chosen as such before the enactment of the Constitution in publicized conduct in accordance with the principles set out in Article 1 of the Constitution. Is this lifetime presidency?
So there is more to what you've read, which Oliver Vamaho has brought out. Now, if you go into the conditions of the 1960 period, you realize that there were a lot of systems that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah put in place to secure him as lifetime president. The criminal libel law meant that to any extent, any act of opposition will be diminished. To any extent, his permission, his guidance should be sought, that until his complete displacement, there could never be any democratic election of any sort. And these were beyond paper.
Yeah.
What would necessitate a coup? I mean, for there to be a coup, there should be everything beyond reasonable doubt that if this person is not removed, progress or democracy won't be achieved.
Yeah.
What happened in Burkina Faso with Captain Ibrahim Traoré?
Yeah.
His assumption into power was out of a very bitter removal of the current president at the time through a coup, which he himself admits that yes, I came through a coup, but the progress of Burkina Faso would never be realized if I didn't do this. Today, what do you see in Burkina Faso? You see massive change. So nobody gets up to do a coup until there's everything beyond reasonable doubt that if this is not done, our growth will be stalled. So Kotoka had to do what he had to do with this at that time. No, I won't be here judging. You see, I won't call a coup maker. I won't have enmity for a coup maker.
Okay.
Then Ibrahim Traoré shouldn't be alive today. Respectfully.
Fair point.
And he shouldn't even be in Ghana because President John Mahama invited him to his inauguration. And he lauded him. Ghanaians were happy for him because they were seeing change.
He received the loudest cheer.
Yes, because he was now the new African star, bringing hope to Burkina Faso. So nobody can say that Kotoka is endemical to Ghana's history. He had to do what he had to do to liberate Ghanaians into democratic rule. So here we are. If we want to close our eyes to the blare or to the glare prints of history, we can go ahead and do it. But I mean, his Kotoka is vindicated because history is open. We all know that there's mischief behind this activity. There's no motivation, which is positive when it's action. We all know. And that is a good thing.
For me, beyond all the points we have made here, the end point for me is the economic significance.
It's part.
If if it is not going to cost us anything to change the name, I don't mind. But if it is going to cost us estimately between $2 to $5 million, I mean, why can't we channel that money into the transport challenges that we have on our route at the moment, rather than wanting to change the name of the airport? I mean, it has no significant bearing.
This was debated in Parliament.
On our pockets.
It was debated in Parliament.
It's sad.
It was debated in Parliament. It's like the chamber issue. So there was supposed to be a chamber. Somebody said there will be no chamber because there's no need for a new chamber.
It's interesting the kind of things that are discussed in parliaments in Africa.
It was debated and voted upon.
It's interesting.
Here we are.
Well, we'll move out of Ghana and get straight to our neighboring country, Nigeria. And in Nigeria, Nigeria is reeling after one of the deadliest attacks in recent months, as gunmen stormed villages in Kwara State, killing at least 162 people. A toll confirmed by the Red Cross as such teams continue to recover more bodies. The massacre has once again put a spotlight on Nigeria's complex and deepening insecurity, where multiple armed groups, including jihadists, bandits, and ethnic militants, are active across different regions, stretching the capacity of security forces. Nigeria. Is this the reason Trump wanted to invade Nigeria?
No.
Because
you don't want to
I know, I don't want to discuss that.
You don't want to talk about Trump's interest.
No, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm only saying in quotes because these are the actions that might prompt international attention over Nigeria. So for me, the big question is, these things have been persistent for a while now. Nigeria is becoming notoriously dangerous for these kinds of things.
Yeah.
What is Nigeria doing about it? What is the government doing about it? Are they concerned or not? And if they are concerned, how are they fighting back or making sure these things do not continue to happen? If the jihadists or the groups involved in these attacks have their reasons, can they make a statement devoid of violence and bloodshed and things of that nature, so that both parties can sit at the table and discuss amicably? I believe it is peace everybody's looking for. I don't think anybody would be happy to see their family or loved ones killed. For what? And when are we getting ourselves out of this issue? And would you want people to be killed for the sake of peace? Would that even be peace in the first place? You know?
So, interestingly, if you get to learn, I always say, if you get to learn of the motivation and reasons behind these massacres, you will not want to mention this issue again. Sometimes it's very disturbing.
Yeah.
Right within this country called Ghana, we have a similar issue like that in Boko.
Okay.
Which is one of the oldest conflicts. No.
Yes.
We all know Ghana has actually evolved and transitioned from a past of conflicts, where those times the Ashantis were fighting against the British, and then the Dainchers, and they were defeated, they were conquests and all that. Fast forward in modernity, we don't see such broad day open light conflicts. But in Ghana today, there's a particular area where conflict is like a festival they celebrate. It happens every time, and every government gets a fair share of solving an issue they can't solve. Because if you give it to this person, tomorrow the war will happen again. There seems to be an endless, nonchalant, perpetual disagreement. We have not solved that one. It is lacking. Do you know the motivation behind these conflicts?
Funny enough, some of the motivations behind them are very trivial and very funny.
Yeah.
That's how interesting some of these
you can buy conspiracy theories that says that, well
every
theory, every massacre that goes on at a particular place it's in one way or the other fueling the benefits and interests of some people. Why is this happening in Kwara State? Why are all the Islamic states or the Islamic dominated states in Nigeria going through this? Why not Lagos? Why not Abuja? Why are those states going through that?
Yeah.
Whose interests are all these being inflamed for? And these are decade-old conflicts.
Yeah.
Because interestingly or funnily, somebody benefits from that chaos. Politically, creating chaos is somebody's joy because that's where they get what they're looking for. I am throwing this to the government of Nigeria. That's the president is responsible for the safety and well-being of all Nigerians, no Christians, no Islamics, no Fulanis. Every Nigerian who finds himself on the soil of Nigeria.
That's true.
And it is enough that the whole games and gimmicks and the trick is enough. It's save Nigerians today. Justice for all Nigerians. It's enough. Because 5 years ago, when Boko Haram was on the neck, creating chaos in Goodluck Jonathan's time, it was a moment for all political leaders to say, listen, we may be having different political paraphernalia, but this is against the safety and well-being of all Nigerians. It was a moment where other leaders were saying that, well, that's your problem, solve it. So why wouldn't it be a problem for another to solve it? Such issues are only solved based on concession.
Absolutely.
On concerted efforts.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that.
Yeah. The Nigerian government responded by deploying an army battalion to the region to strengthen security and protect civilians. That's, let's say, a first aid approach, no problem, because the attacks are still ongoing. So, yes, the first thing you can do is to send a battalion to protect and defend civilians, because most of them are definitely not handling anything that they can use to fight back. So that's okay. But beyond this, like you're saying, a concession.
Yeah.
Something must happen. Call the people who matter to a table and have a discussion, so that when there's a solution, it is once and for all. Because the consistency at which there are these things happening in Nigeria, it's not a good thing. And this is how come people will flee from this part of Nigeria, go to the other cities like Abuja and Lagos and Port Harcourt and wherever. And then some of them even would end up coming to Ghana and other neighboring countries, depending on go. We need to find a way to resolve this kind of thing.